Is Putin using reflexive control to manipulate the West? And what the hell's reflexive control anyway? Well, all right, I've been looking up at this and I've been thinking about it a lot. Reflexive control is a Russian concept, right? And it's about producing, getting your enemy to make assumptions that are helpful to you. And it's about putting out information in a way that supports that information, disinformation, your own actions. For instance, Putin really wants us to think that supporting Ukraine equals escalation with Russia, right? And so, giving more weapons to Ukraine is an escalation that will trigger some kind of Russian response. So what's he do? Well, he wants to constantly, talk about it. He wants to react to previous, to any kind of escalation. Anytime you up your ante, he wants to react as if it's a thing. And he wants to make kind of vague comments about threats. And all of this is trying to equate in the West the assumption that, yes, if we increase our support for Ukraine, this will be a provocative escalation to Russia. And the thing is, it's not necessarily that way, right? It doesn't have to be that way. But Putin has a certain amount of control, since the question of whether it's an escalation is largely how he and Russia is going to take it. Are they going to act as if it is? And so this is an area where he's been trying, ISW at least is arguing this is an area where he's been putting this information out. He's been crafting his reaction to the various increases in Western support in that way. And by making that just kind of this assumption, right? We just look at it and go, well, all right, we are worried that these things are provocative. They're escalations from the Russian point of view, which has the US and NATO saying, oh, well, what if we do this, if we give them long-range missiles, this could lead to a Russian reaction, right? Without the Russians necessarily saying, if you do this, we're going to do something really bad to you, right? And ISW is saying, look, you're self-deterring, right? Putin doesn't have to make these threats. He just convinces you of this assumption that increasing your support for Ukraine will be taken as an escalation, and you start imagining what he might do. And so ISW is calling this self-deterrence. And that's what they're arguing that Putin's doing. They're saying, look, you really need to start pushing back against this narrative that this kind of information, this kind of analysis, this kind of Russian servings, it serves Russian interests to assume things are this way, and we need to stop doing it. Now, the other side of this is, well, maybe they are escalations, right? This is the thing of maybe Putin is reactioning to the provision of increasing weapons as an escalation. And, do we really want that? And so it might not be so imagined after all. That's the problem, is it's hard to tell. But this is where, so this is reflexive control, acting in a way that creates this reflexive reaction on your opponent's part to assume something you want him to assume because it's useful for you.